A few different things can happen on KDA. Let me show you the outside, the most extreme things that would happen, and then we'll tighten it down to what's more realistic and the options between the parameters of, you know, there's only a 5% likelihood that something outside of the top and bottom of my parameters will happen, right? And 95% chance, let's just, for example, a very high percentage that what will happen will be between there. So to identify the parameters there, technically, honestly, I would have to say the bottom target would be even the next origin line down. Well, should I? No, that's not true, because Bitcoin won't leg down for another till late this month. So actually, no. So origin line to blue box are your outside parameters. There is a 90%, just quote unquote, I promise YouTube I've never say 90% again, right? But whatever. My famous last words about Bitcoin might not go, you know, might not go under 50K ever again, right? That was tied for the worst statement I've ever made on camera. If you speak long enough on camera, you'll say stupid shit too, okay? You'll mispronounce words, everything. All right, so the outside parameters, actually, let's make it the top of the blue box. So what happens throughout the month of November will be between the horizontal at 140 and this ascending origin line, which is not ascending too fast. Look how slowly these numbers change. So it's about a penny and a half a day is the slope, right? So those are the outside parameters. I don't want to go much lower. So let's also say within that, a small dip below this, but it would immediately get back above here. So that is included in the statement. But this blue box, that's not. That top of the blue box is as much as it has permission to go up without touching this line, okay? All right, so let's take a look. What could happen? Well, it is possible that KDA, for whatever reason, when Bitcoin is not selling off, so this is the least likely, goes down to touch this, thus gets permission or gets released from jail, that is its high. But it can only happen if KDA can touch that as Bitcoin is not significantly going down. Because if Bitcoin significantly goes down while KDA touches this, sure, technically on KDA's chart, it would have permission to go above this, but the next thing needed to get above this would not happen. Therefore, yeah, you would need Bitcoin to hit the green fractal from my Bitcoin portion of the stream, or and if you're a person watching the recording of this, you have to watch my Bitcoin video from the same day. Just skip to where you see 3 different colors floating around on the string of fractals. Skip to that part because I don't think I'm going to tag it. So what could happen, least most likely scenario, is it comes down how much percent? 16, 17% to touch this, while Bitcoin does not significantly go below its origin line. Thus, Bitcoin still has permission to hit, you know, 20 to 21K, right? Which it does still, it's in the cards. And then, so because it touched this, as Bitcoin doesn't go down, then KDA can go above here. A lot. Like not like reversal, this is the low forever, but it can go significantly above there on a percentage basis, right? You don't need to worry about that unless KDA both touches this and Bitcoin did not go too far below. Actually, I can tell you the exact level. It's that wick that I talked about earlier. Wrong chart. If KDA hits that and Bitcoin has not specifically gone below that level right here, why is that so small? What the hell? There we go. That number right there. The least likely scenario could play out. If Bitcoin goes below there and KDA hits it, then that blue box is still the top because Bitcoin's not going to 21K after that. Back to KDA. So we're deducing, right? Trying to figure out all the things possible, but what are the 2 or 3 most likely? That's not that's like the 4th or 5th most likely. In general, it is very, very likely among the top 3, definitely, that you hit either this origin line or the blue box and then hit here. That's option number 1. So from a timing perspective, I need to mark off end of November because Bitcoin's not going to make new lows until that line is passed on the time axis with a very, very high likelihood. So now that I have that on here, just in general, I'm not going to do the exact shape, right? In general. Well, I guess I will, whatever. Something like that. Shape number 1. That is definitely in the top 3 most likely because of the rules of the blue box and this line. Or the origin line rules. Second, another very likely one, or a possible one, is it heads down first with Bitcoin. And Bitcoin goes below that point. If Bitcoin goes below that point, then we take off that green fractal, which allows Bitcoin to go up to 21K. It becomes like, well, it's still the 3rd most likely thing to happen, but it's so much less likely than 1 and 2 that you would only focus on 1 and 2 at that time. If that were to happen, KDA would very likely get rejected from here. Maybe a wick above, whatever, then head down. Maybe a little later too. I don't know. Sometime around this line. And it's possible it stays flat until this line and then goes down later. But for example, roughly around this blue line. Another very likely thing is a triangle. Can't make higher highs, but it's making higher lows because Bitcoin is too, right? But in order for the triangle to happen, here's a pop quiz, KDA fans, or no, anybody. You don't have to be KDA fan. It applies to all price of all cryptos. The question does, but we're using KDA right now to ask the question. I'm trying to turn down the volume on this. There we go, so I can concentrate better. Pop quiz. What KDA chart? Kind of a big hint. What KDA chart would tell you if the triangle is going to happen? Not this one. KDA versus Bitcoin. So Bitcoin going past 19K, around those yellow lines, or maybe even above. Actually, it'd probably be above. Yeah, that's 17%. KDA might not even make it there, folks. Am I going to fail my own pop quiz? I didn't think it was that high up. Because Bitcoin's top target is what? It's 10.25% up. Yeah, it's still the same answer. It's KDA versus Bitcoin. KDA has to be versus Bitcoin in an uptrend, or this line won't be hit. And neither will this one. So if KDA is not outperforming Bitcoin as Bitcoin's going up, then neither the triangle nor that first yellow one will happen. So you're gonna have to use the Bitcoin pairing chart for this to get your hints and to calibrate your probabilities. KDA to get to here, it would require it going up versus Bitcoin while Bitcoin is going closer to 20 to 21K. If Bitcoin's not going up at all, then this ain't gonna happen either. So this requires Bitcoin both to go past or to go up at least to that top yellow line. So for KDA analysis, you need Bitcoin analysis, period. Bitcoin has a damn good chance of hitting this. And at that as it's making its way up, and it'll probably pull back from there, KDA has to really be gaining versus Bitcoin on the KDA BTC chart, not the KDA US dollar pairing. Does that make sense? And at that moment, that would be the green box, not the origin line. So technically, the only way KDA can make the triangle, to get above that, to hit the next origin line up, is if the green fractal on Bitcoin is the one that plays out, which right now it's the third most likely, and KDA outperforms Bitcoin. So honestly, this is not that likely. It's not likely to hit 140 at all. But one Discord group of 500 people buying it, that could happen, right? It would probably require something like that to happen. And it does happen sometimes. Because it's not going to be big money pushing KDA. Like, big money is not even looking at KDA at all. That doesn't mean they won't in the future. Nothing against KDA. Like, you know, I like Dash and BPro. They're not, big money's not looking at Dash and BPro either. So it's not anything against KDA. Because my favorite coins, big money's not in it either. Yet. Yet. At least yet for, you know, yeah, not yet. All right. So with that said, I need to actually make new lines. I'm going to follow just the Bitcoin or just the general rules. Look left, look at, so 1, 2, and 3. That makes sense. That would be KDA performing flat versus Bitcoin as Bitcoin hits that top line. So honestly, it's probably most probable that before a pullback, that's the highest it'll go. And that price is nice and big. That actually might be more probable. But you'd have the same general shape of price movement. Up, then down, then maybe touch this, and maybe try back up, all that stuff, right? Playing between the green and the orange, the next origin line down. And that's why the measuring tool is so important, because I spent the first 5 minutes not having measured to get my own brain I didn't format my own brain to the percentage moves. I formatted it on the time axis, but I did not format my brain to the percent. That measuring stick is really important, folks. And that's what we got for KDA analysis. These are your outside parameters. Near 100% chance that through November, KDA will remain between here. But to make things even more probable, then you have green box and origin line. Maybe even more probable than that, this blue line to the origin line. That's it. All right, that's KDA.